This episode is brought to you by the world's first reposado from Tequila Herradura. Made with slow-cooked, hand-harvested agave sealed into oak barrels and aged 11 months. Before being enjoyed in your glass. Experience the world's first reposado. Tequila Herradura. Please drink responsibly. Responsibility.org. Tequila Herradura. 40% alcohol by volume. Imported by Brown-Forman, Louisville, Kentucky. Herradura is a registered trademark. Copyright 2025 Brown-Forman Corporation.
This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Perrotto Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Perrotto Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Opening half hour. Being brought to you by our good friends at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews. The best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. Ready to drink cocktails. High Noon, Jack Daniels, Crown Royal, and the Pickle Bar, led by my 2 personal favorites, the Barrels and the Dills. Indeed, second to none, all at Brewers Outlet. Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Trade deadline has come and gone, and usually July 31st is a dark day for Pirate fans. They dread it, they anticipate it, they hate it. John Perrotto's here to talk about it. John, they made moves, including the expected. We knew David Bednar would not be a Pirate on August 1st, and voila, he is not.
No, he is not, and it really came as no surprise. Like you said, he's was in demand, and he only had 1 year of arbitration eligibility left, and he'd probably make about $9 or $10 million next year. And as we know, the Pirates don't pay relief pitchers that kind of money, so it was all but certain his fate was sealed here, and I think he knew it last weekend on Saturday night when he got the save against the Diamondbacks, which was the 100th of his career, and he was usually he's happy-go-lucky, but he was very emotional after that game, and you could tell, I think he knew that was probably his last game as a Pirate in PNC Park.
John, Ben Cherington is in an interesting spot. Look, he has a World Series ring with the 2013 Red Sox. He was able to make a big trade with the Dodgers in 2012, where he took Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, Josh Beckett, and a utility player whose name skips my mind here for the moment. And he shed $250 million in payroll with the Red Sox. But the difference is that he was then able to take the $250 million, and with the backing of ownership, he brought in Stephen Drew. He brought in Shane Victorino. He brought in Johnny Gomes. He brought in guys that help him win the World Series the next year. They've just shed $18 million in payroll. He's not going to dole out $18 million in payroll to anybody, let alone $250. He's not allowed to do it.
No, and they say that's what they're going to do. They're going to take the money they saved to keep Ryan Hayes' deal, which is $36 million over 4 years, and Bailey Falter, who they gave away, a pretty good left-handed starting pitcher to the Royals for a 28-year-old rookie reliever and a guy who's really not considered a prospect. Between those two, they're probably going to save conservatively $13 million. But I don't see how. They've shown no track record. They've shown no reason to have faith that they're going to, as Ben Cherington called it last night in his press conference, reallocate the money. I just don't think. I don't trust them to do it. And if they do, it'll be a pleasant surprise, not only for me, but for Pirate fans. I mean, they just, they look at the Pirates and with their track records, like, okay, you got rid of salary, and that's it. You're not going to raise the payroll. So we'll see. I'd like to give them the benefit of the doubt, Steve, but they haven't earned that benefit of the doubt with the way they've ran their franchise.
I mean, didn't he make a claim that he actually that he was offered higher level Yankee prospects and they turned it down because this was the better? What the heck are you talking about? I mean, well, if they are a higher level prospect, take the guy.
Yeah. I agree. Everything's analytics with Ben, and I've had people in other front offices tell me that sometimes he'll take a player who the team that he's trading with thinks is a lesser player because their analytics department measured this bat speed or that spin rate or what have you. And the other general managers like shake their head like, we're offering you a better player,
yes,
and you're asking for somebody lesser. And it's just weird. And I don't know, for him to have kept the job 6 years, Steve, and apparently he's going to be back for a seventh. There's no indication he's going to get fired. I mean, it's just amazing that the owner lets this go on, Bob Nutting. And, it's just clear there's no commitment to winning here. They're just trying to have the lowest payroll as they can. And, what Ben did yesterday, in my mind, it smells like a guy who's trying to keep his job and doing it by kicking the can down the road and saying, well, just be patient. We have all these young guys in the minor leagues. Let them develop. Give us a couple years, and then we'll put together a winning team. And it never happens, but Bob Nutting keeps smiling for it.
Well, see, what's interesting is that when teams are offering prospects, nobody wants to rip off the other side. They don't want to rip off the other side. You want to be known as a good trading partner. That way people will continue to trade with you. And then he does this. And he's done it repeatedly where like, no. We don't want those guys. We want these guys. How many catchers can you acquire in one trade?
I talked to a Royals person late last night who could not believe that they got Bailey Falter that cheap. Now, I'm not saying Bailey Falter's an all-star or he's a Cy Young candidate, but he's a league average left-handed starting pitcher. And all they got for him was a 28-year-old reliever who's pitched 5 times in the big leagues, and a first baseman in A-ball who wasn't even drafted, who's a non-drafted free agent, not considered a top 30 prospect by any of the different publications or outlets that rank prospects. And I'm not saying they're always right about guys, but they have pretty good track records, Baseball America, MLB.com, and such. How do you give up at least a league average left-handed starting pitcher and get nothing back? And it just boggles my mind. I think the Hayes trade was good because they unloaded his salary, which is the main thing they wanted to do. And I'm shocked that somebody took on all $36 million left on that contract. And even a Bednar trade, I get to an extent. They did get a guy who could be their catcher of the future, and they did get 3 top 30 prospects out of their system, but some of the other trades just made no sense at all. And then the guys that they kept made no sense. Isaiah Connor Falefa, Tommy Pham, Andrew Heaney, they're on 1-year deals and they're not going to be back next year. So why not trade them in for something, some kind of prospect? So just very weird, and it just makes you think, Steve, that they have no plan. And if they do have a plan, it's certainly extremely hard to understand.
Yeah, I don't get the plan. Was the trade with the Yankees an indictment of the draft of Henry Davis?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, I thought the fact that they got not 1 but 2 catching prospects in the deal pretty much tells you they don't think Henry's the long-term guy here. And it's just been, speaking of weird. I mean, Henry's career's been weird. He came up and he hit okay, but he couldn't catch, and then he learned how to catch, become a good defensive catcher. Now he can't hit, and I don't know what to make of him, but There are some people who think Rafael Flores, the main guy, the Yankees or the Pirates got from the Yankees in the trade, can be an everyday catcher. But then I had other scouts tell me that maybe he's probably not athletic enough, and he'll end up being at first base. So I don't know. It's very odd, to say the least. And they still have Endy Rodriguez, who's missed almost 2 full seasons now, and I'd say they went from Joey Bart, who I don't think is the long-term answer after the way he's fallen off this year. No. So they obviously felt they needed to upgrade the catching position. We'll see how this all shakes out, but I don't think it looks really good for Henry's future here.
If you are in the Paul Skeens camp, and you're making the major league minimum, by the way, what are you thinking right now?
Well, I'm thinking they're never going to win, and they're not serious about winning, and I'm counting my days to either I get traded or I can be a free agent, and I don't think he'll ever get to the 6 years where he's a free agent and still be here. I'm sure they'll trade him here in the next couple of years, and he says all the right things, but he did say something interesting in a one-on-one interview on the Pirates postgame show last week, the last time he pitched, and it was he was talking to Dan Zangrilli, your old partner in State College, about what Zangrilli asked him about what he thought of the Pirates' future, and Skeens was pretty honest, saying we need to make some moves. If we're going to win, we can't win with the team we have now, and that's really the first time that he's really given much of an opinion on anything. He's usually very down the middle and doesn't say anything inflammatory, and though I wouldn't call those remarks inflammatory, they were at least illuminating. I think it's the first time that anyone's really gotten kind of a look into what he's thinking about, into his psyche. And it seems to me, from the way he phrased it, that he's losing patience.
Let me put it this way, John. The team's in last place, and he was honest.
Yeah.
There's a reason. I mean, you're in last place for a reason. You don't have enough good players. And I think the starting pitching, by the way, for the Pirates, and pitching overall, actually has been pretty good.
Oh, I think it has. I think their pitching is good enough to get a team to the playoffs, the pitching they have. It's the fact that they have no offense at all, and, they don't score runs. They're last in the majors in runs scored. And the frustrating part for the fans and the baffling part for me is they knew at the end of last season that they had to upgrade that offense, that they had to go out and get a couple of legitimate hitters, not Tommy Phams and Adam Frazier, who are good complementary pieces, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I mean, legitimate big league hitters that could play every day, could pop you 20 homers and drive in some runs, and they just didn't do it. And I don't care how good your pitching is the great Larry Doty, the former Pirates general manager from years gone by, used to say, you can't win a game nothing. And that's what they're trying to do this year, win games 1-0.
How are they? Yesterday, Ben talks to the media. It's great that he did. But how are they trying to sell this to the fans? Are they even trying to sell it to the fans? I mean, because this is a broken record, and, you and I both know that the fans of Pittsburgh are great. They show up, they watch the games, the TV ratings are great. But they're getting nothing in return. How do they sell this?
They don't. They never verbalize exactly what they're doing. Ben is a nice guy, but he talks round and round in circles. I think the people just finally lose interest and quit listening to him. I think that's his strategy when he talks to the media and through the media, through us, the fans. And I don't know. It's always like, well, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this. It's never like the verbalization saying, hey, this is what we plan on doing. And I think what the fans wanted to hear more than anything after what happened yesterday and the Pirates didn't get any big league help back was basically to hear them say, look, we saved some money and we're going to go out and we're going to spend it and try to get a couple really good players in the off season. But they don't say that, and they never do, because I don't think that's their plan.
Yeah, because it was interesting. Bryce Harper got into the verbal altercation with Rob Manfred over a salary cap. Well, we all know the Pirates don't want a salary cap because guess what the salary cap means? There's a floor, and the floor is exponentially higher than what they're paying right now, John.
Oh yeah. If it's a case where there's a cap and a floor, and I think the players, I really believe they'll hold out the whole year in 27 before they accept the salary cap.
I agree with you. I agree, John.
And if they eventually do, there's going to have to be a floor. There is no way they would accept a cap without a floor because they're tired of teams like Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay and the White Sox and so have you not spending any money. So, yeah, I would say that Bob Nutting is against the salary cap because it's the salary floor. He knows he's never going to come anywhere near the cap. So, yeah, it's it's really interesting. It's an interesting dynamic, and I would be curious to see what the Pirates would do if there was a salary floor. They would have to go out and try to get some players then, but would they get good players, or would they just get overpaid guys just to reach the floor?
I don't. To my knowledge, I've never met Bob Nutting, so I don't know him at all. And we know that in Pittsburgh, even at the U.S. Open, they were chanting, sell the team, sell the team. Why does he want to own this team?
Because he's making usually around $50 million a year profit for basically not even trying to put a good product on the field. And, they're very good at selling everything but baseball to the fans. They have the pierogi races. They have the in-game entertainment. And they always say the best ballpark in America. And I can't dispute that. It's as nice as any stadium. You might say, some people might say San Francisco is better. Some might say San Diego has a better park. But if it's not the best ballpark, it's certainly in the top three. And that's what they sell, and that's what fans buy. And I know people go to the games, and they tell me, look, we know the Pirates aren't going to win, but it is a fun night out, and the ballpark's nice, and the food's good, and there's energy, and the kids like the pierogi races and all that stuff, and that's what they sell. Until fans actually quit going to the games, and I mean quit going, not just on weeknights when they don't try anyway, then the Pirates really have no incentive to try to spend money. But also, if nobody shows up, then that just gives them more of an excuse to say, well, our attendance is bad, we can't afford to pay any players. So unless you come out like Frank Coonley, one of the dumbest things ever said in all the years I've covered the Pirates, it's the fans' fault because they don't come out, and when they don't come out, we don't have the money to spend on players. So it's ridiculous. You couldn't make some of this stuff up, and it's just amazing. I grew up in the 70s, Steve. They won 6 division titles in 10 years, and never in my wildest dream when I became a grown-up and close to being a senior citizen that I would see the Pirates in this state. What
do you think of Don Kelly so far?
I think he's done a good job, Steve. I really do.
I do too.
Their record's pretty good. They play better baseball. All the stupid base running mistakes and fielding mistakes and mental mistakes that they made earlier in the year, they've cut way down on that. I'm not saying they play perfect baseball, but they play better than they were. They've won. You could tell the clubhouse is a lot happier place since he took over. And from a purely selfish standpoint, it's nice to have a manager where you can ask a question and actually get a straight answer, unlike his predecessor.
Yeah. What's it been like for you being allowed now to have more of a national viewpoint of what's going on and not just always pigeonholed into day-by-day Pirate coverage?
Well, it's interesting because you get to see other teams, and I think that's where sometimes I have a little bit of advantage over the other writers here in Pittsburgh. This is all they know, most of them, and some of them actually think this is how baseball works. And, when you get to know people in other organizations and you get a chance to talk to other general managers, scouts, things like that, you realize that Pittsburgh's the aberration, not the norm. And this is not a winning organization. It's not a serious organization. They're not even trying to win, in my estimation. And so it's interesting. And to be honest with you, Steve, it helps me keep my sanity a little because if I had to concentrate strictly on the Pirates 100% of my time, I probably would be out of the business by now. I really would. That's how much it wears you out. But it does give you a different perspective, and you realize that there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Well, hopefully being on the show once in a while helps you keep your sanity, too. So I know it helps us a lot.
Absolutely. No, it does. I appreciate it. Always good talking with you, Steve.
Same, John. You're great. Appreciate it. Awesome coverage. You know so much, and we appreciate everything.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
The outstanding John Perrotto. What a job he does. And he's not put in the greatest position on the face of the earth trying to cover that team on a daily basis. At least now he gets to do more of a national viewpoint, and that really helps. But he's right. The Pirates are the aberration. Unreal. This half hour brought to you by our good friends at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, microbrews, the best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and hot every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And the pickle bar led by the barrels and the dills, indeed second to none on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.